Could you explain a time throughout your career where you've seen a firsthand situation on how drugs have made the situation worse?
Well, so typically when someone is taking drugs, it influences their ability to cope with what's actually happening at that point. So let's say I get into an argument or with somebody in like a domestic situation, and where most people are able to just cope with the situation and work it out. When someone's under the influence of drugs or alcohol or something like that, it actually reduces their ability to rationalize what's happening, and can take a situation that's minor and turn it into where all of a sudden, we got domestic abuse where someone is potentially assaulting somebody.
All right. What drugs do you think have the most detrimental effect on teens, in your opinion?
So the most drugs that affect the teens the most are the ones that impair their ability of their mind. All drugs out there have some ability to influence a person's, especially a young person's mind when they're still developing. Their ability that their frontal lobes are still developing their cognitive thinking portion. So drugs like meth, marijuana, GHBs. There's a lot of different drugs out there that actually affect your cognitive ability.
How many students do you think are affected by drugs at Byron?
That's kind of hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say what percentage of people in Byron Nelson are affected by it. We only know based on our experiences that we have with the population out there. But I'd say it's a very small portion. But even that small portion has a really huge impact on the majority of this campus at any given time.
What is something you think should happen to bring more awareness to drug abusers in our community? As in like Byron Nelson, Trophy Club, just like the surrounding communities?
Yeah, well, I think this is a great start, having this communication here, this top conversation here, just reaching out to our youth at our schools, whether for the SROs, we are actually doing a LETS program in the elementary schools, and we start at that age, teaching the kids about the dangers of drugs. And so I think it's just one of those things where people that have experiences of their own, where they can say, hey man, I've had this experience, and I need to use that as an education opportunity for other people out there as well. So I think it's just one of those things where we need everybody's involvement. I know that last year at the Taste and Talent, we did simulators where we would simulate impaired driving with alcohol and even with marijuana. A lot of people forget that with marijuana, you can actually be DWI with marijuana. So there's actually tests out there that we can use to establish whether or not someone's impaired under the influence of other drugs besides just alcohol. It could be marijuana, it could be meth, it can be prescription controlled substances. So.
Is there anything else you have that you could say to I don't know, just anything else you have? I don't know how to.
Well, hey, I really appreciate y'all taking the opportunity to come in here and have the conversation and do this. This is just a great way that myself and the other SRO, Officer Watkins, if anybody has a question, whether it be one-on-one in here or, in the hall, or in the classrooms, in the hallways, we want everybody to know here at Byron that if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask. That's what we're here for. So.
All right, thank you so much.
Cool, thank you.